thought Chinese people don't have a critical thinking because living in China, nobody ever taught us to question things, to doubt things. I thought Western country would be different. However, people here are the same and even worse. Canadians are so easy to be brainwashed. In Canada, we only have one voice to be heard. Mainstream media here is entirely one-sided. It's biased. You almost cannot hear any opposite voice in this country. Who funds CBC? 70% of its funding comes from federal government. All the mainstream media are just mouthpieces for Liberal Party. Ironically, many Chinese people don't even trust our own media, which are controlled by Chinese government. However, Canadian people, especially Liberals, just worship mainstream media like CBC.
And that is the truth. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Canadian Citizen Journal. What a gong show Canada is. We're going to start off with how low can the NDP go? Yeah, pretty bad. I'm going to have to turn the volume down for this first clip. Yeah, it's definitely kind of gross. And then we're going to kind of hit on what's going on with Tamara and Chris Barber. They had their court today. We're just going to kind of do a little bit of a revamp on the whole Freedom Convoy thing and then finish off with a little bit of the tariff. And yeah, let's just kind of start off with you can't make this stuff up, people. Here's your NDP party. Now, I got to hide the volume on that. Okay, This is an OnlyFans girl. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh is connected with the content creator Jessica Wentz. He's completely disavowed this now. He's trying to separate himself from it happening. But little digging shows that Jessica is an OnlyFans account based on her profile. The thread pics are more soft P, but yeah, he's still put. I'm not even gonna go there. I'm not even gonna look it up. But like everything about it, even the double hot dog in the bun and. This is disgusting, absolutely disgusting. And what is it? Right away, this is what I thought of.
Happy birthday, babe. She's from me.
Well, hey, can I have you both?
Sure. We've had our shots.
I'd buy that for $1.
Yes, Jagmeet, you would. I'm sorry I had to put that in there. I don't know, my brain just kind of clicked on that old memory when I saw that, and I was like, wow, OnlyFans. And then the funniest part is earlier in the same day, he was with this group of girls who were singing this rendition of Glory, Glory, Hallelujah, which was actually, yes, it was a religious song, but it became famous for being a Republican war song. And yeah, these girls were singing it to whatever, their own NDP thing. So yeah, let's just say this party, yeah, they reap what they sow. They gotta go. Okay, now let's get on to this Tamara Lich. This is yes, I'm a Freedom Convoy supporter. Why? Because I believe in freedom. I believe in democracy. And I have a lot of heritage. A lot of my ancestors, they all fled here for one reason only. They were fleeing the same thing that we are seeing in our country today. That is the truth. That's a truth bomb. Drop the mic. That's the reality of it. The sad part is that how the media has convinced so many millions of Canadians that these people were like evil incarnate. The people at the food bank, that was all a lie. Here they were actual liberal supporters who lied, and in doing so, actually, if you were not watching mainstream, it actually helped sell and show and advertise how great of a movement the Freedom Convoy was, because Freedom Convoy was actually feeding every homeless person they could find. They were purposely going out trying to find homeless. They were giving them clothes, shoes, blankets, and food, and invites to come and join them at every meal. Not a single person was turned down. It didn't matter if you were part of the Alphabet Squad, it didn't matter your ethnicity, and nothing mattered. It was irrelevant. It was a true Canadian protest. And the media despised it. So they tried to hate more. And then they tried to accuse them of, well, and this is an interesting one. I've got a little bit of paperwork. I'm still trying to chase the trail to find out exactly how it went. But it looks as though there were actually people within the Liberal Party that were trying to get the media to say, well, tell them they've got guns because they're trying to take Canadians' guns away. This would be another great way for us to push our legislation down Canada's throats. So they were saying, oh, these guys are hiding guns in their cabs and they're going to do all these bad things, which was all proven to be bullcrap at the actual committee, as well as a lot of other things that happened. And that was a kangaroo court anyways, this whole committee. It's the typical appoint a kangaroo court to protect Justin and his buddies, which, by the way, they lost in court and now they have private suits against them. They're actually people who are suing the individuals, Mendocino, Trudeau, all the rest of those losers. They're getting sued, and I hope they lose, and I hope they lose big for what they have done. And then you also got the people who were, they said it was the Freedom Convoy that were trying to burn an entire building full of people, occupants, alive. And the media didn't tell you afterwards because they already spewed their lies, making all these Canadians think, oh my God, these people are out of control, they're going to burn Ottawa down. In actual fact, the 3 people, 1 person got away. I don't know if they found him and they hid. From what it sounds like, they did find him, but he was underage. But the other 2 weren't. And guess what? On their social media, they are full-fledged liberals. Anti-convoy. Plastered all over. It was a setup. If the media really did their job, Canadians would have known that. But there's still a lot of Canadians out there that they just believe what propaganda throws in their lap, and some of them you can convince, others you can't. That's why I did this channel, to eliminate the fake news and to give you just the facts. Sorry, not sorry. Now, I'm going to play this. If you're a fan, they tell you how to support her. But I thought this was really good. And yes, when the movie and everything comes out, I will be watching it. I've already watched a few of them. I try to support them as much as I can.
Has the arrest affected your life?
Tamara! Lynch! Tamara! Lynch! Tamara! Lynch!
All of us thought that when the trucks left Ottawa, that was going to be the end of it. But we didn't realize that was just the beginning. We made a promise, and going back to this trial is kind of poetic, because I'm going back to fight again.
The blue-collar community has actually stood up, and look at what they've done to try and put us down. I really hope that they would listen.
Is there a reason that you can give as for why you will not have any negotiations with this particular group?
I have attended protests and rallies in the past when I agreed with the goals, when I supported the people expressing their concerns and their issues.
Yeah, Black Lives Matter and Antifa, who were going around smashing all of our statues of our history, burning churches, passing lies. That's who he stands with. Lest we forget, do not forget. Those who forget the past are condemned to repeat it. We must get the truth out.
Never in a million years thought we'd be there 3 weeks and have not one single person even come to ask us a single question.
The federal government has invoked the Emergencies Act.
The police promised they would let them retreat peacefully. There's no leadership or they're intent on violence.
Average Canadians had enough of the mandates and they wanted somebody to stand up.
My strengths are logistics, organization, and administration. How can I help you?
And I took her up on that.
It was almost like a salvation.
Nobody in this convoy will be inciting violence or uttering threats. That is not what we are here to do.
Look at this, you guys. Oh my God.
I am an 8-year-old. We wanted to show our support again by providing you with some of our favorite snacks.
People that would come up and open the door and put bags of food in.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa holding unacceptable views.
Oh my gosh, look at this overpass.
Do not represent the views of Canadians.
Hello, fringe minorities.
I don't know if we'll ever forget this.
We're fully supported to be here for as long as it takes.
We are in the jacuzzi making peace.
I walked those streets for 3 weeks straight. I seen the love.
I felt the truth and I saw the lies.
Honk honk, which is an acronym for Hail Hitler.
They started calling us names, racist, terrorists.
Russian actors could be continuing to fuel things.
The government and the media made all kinds of allegations against the protesters.
We were coming to rape and pillage.
There was an apartment building that was set on fire. Accusations that there were protesters planning to bomb the children's hospital, stealing food from the homeless. The truck drivers all had weapons in their trucks, and none of them were true.
This operation was able to proceed without death or serious bodily injury.
There was bodily injury to participants.
We investigated for interference, and we do not see a threat to the security of Canada.
You didn't see any intelligence of sabotage or anything in support of sabotage.
That's correct.
He went down on his knees, put his hands behind his head, and then still gets beat up.
I was completely destroyed. I paid blood.
That hate comes from all the misinformation, the lies that were being fed to those police officers.
I want to go for a coffee. We see you again, it'll be different.
Get out of here.
Years ago, there was supposed to be a hockey game in Ottawa. That never happened because the Emergencies Act shut us down.
We've been busy on the defense, raising money.
Shaba and Jody come up and do the ceremonial puck drop.
Try not to stay up at night worrying about being in jail, but
no one gets left behind. We have to make sure that we have good representation, because now I've seen the difference between what a good lawyer can do and what a not so good lawyer can do.
How's your client feeling right now?
They just don't want people to ever protest against them again. You have to understand that there's a lot of things at work here that need to prevent this from being a success.
This is my hill.
Hold the line.
www.givesendgo/convoydoc for those of you who would like to donate. And I urge you, if you have a couple pennies pushed together, I know it's the Liberal Party has completely destroyed us, and there's a lot of us that are broke. But those of you who can, please try to support them. So now we're going to kind of move on to what happened today in court.
Ezra Levant here. Shocking news, at least for me and the many fans of Tamara Leach. We're standing outside the Ottawa courthouse, where in the last 5 minutes, Judge Heather Perkins McVeigh said that she has convicted both Tamara Leach and Chris Barber, the two figureheads of the trucker convoy, convicted them in the first of a series of counts involving their role in the trucker convoy in this city some 3 years ago. I have to tell you, I'm shocked by that. I thought that perhaps Chris Barber may have been convicted because some of his language was more florid about locking down the city and wrecking things. Some of those transcripts were read back by the judge today, but I'm truly astonished that Tamara Leach was convicted. Tamara Leach, whose only statements were about peace and love. She literally would talk that way, about keeping your spirits high and let's be peaceful and loving. It was, I called her the spiritual leader of the truckers. It was some astonishing logic used by the judge, in my view. For example, here's one of the reasons the judge is convicted. She said that Tamara Leach was told by police that the truckers had to move their trucks and to sort of de-escalate the protest because it was causing problems, and Tamara Leach agreed to help. Now, you might think that that's proof that Tamara Leach was on the side of the good guys, but the judge said no. It showed that Tamara Leach knew that there was a problem of mischief in the city that she had to fix. So by crowdfunding for the truckers and by encouraging the truckers and using the phrase hold the line, she knew she was committing a crime because she knew there was a problem because she was helping to solve it. I found that upside down logic. It really irritated me that the phrase hold the line was taken by the judge as proof that Tamara Leach was inciting mischief. Hold the line, a most innocuous phrase, a generic phrase, a phrase that was even used by police during the convoy. Imagine being convicted of mischief in part because you said the words hold the line in the same country where there are pro-Hamas protests where they chant things like from the river to the sea, which means to genocide all the Jews, ethnically cleanse all the Jews out of Israel, or Intifada revolution. That's an anti-Semitic pogrom. So you hear those violent chants throughout this country on street protests and universities, and not a thing. But Tamara Leach leads the greatest peaceful protest in a generation, and because she says hold the line, the judge uses that as one of the reasons to convict her. I am deeply surprised. I thought that this judge, because she had presided over the Mark Norman fiasco when the government tried to set up the vice admiral in a political witch hunt, I thought that she would be alive and alert to the kind of schemes and scams by prosecutors, but I was dead wrong. I am stunned by this. Let me tell you one thing, though. Last night, I came into town. I wanted to make sure I got here despite the weather, and I met briefly with Tamara Leach.
There's the other website right there. It's called helptamara.com. That's where you can send e-transfers to help her with her criminal costs. She's fighting the most expensive prosecutors possible, paid for by our tax dollars, to try and protect this complete insane party, fascist party, the Liberals. It's just disgraceful. And in the meantime, media hides the reality of what's going on across Canada. Now, I'm going to use this one here as a great example because everybody who watches mainstream knows that they were saying this one that happened in Montreal. No, this wasn't a pro-Palestinian, which pro-Palestinian is propaganda lies for pro-Hamas, pro-Muslim Brotherhood, pro-ISIS. I've said on previous shows, I will say it again and again and again. I had two very close Palestinian friends who went back to save their family from Hamas and were never seen again. What they told me and the scars they showed me from when they were children on how they were tortured to be brainwashed to hate the Jews and women and everything else that Hamas stands for. They were lucky enough that they had the moral integrity and parents and family that tried to remove that but couldn't run. And then these two guys ended up meeting literally while they were doing their courses and everything to get into Canada, and they had met at a little shop that they were working at, learning English, became friends, both studied the same thing, got into a field, and that's where I had met them and worked with them. And they were both amazing individuals. They were true Palestinians. They would be completely against this, 100%. This is not a anti-NATO protest. The media lied about it. Look at the flags. Look at the color of the smoke bombs. Look at the writing and the signs. I'm going to play it. You see that? I asked a few of my Muslim friends who speak Arabic. I can't remember exactly what they had said. I wrote it down somewhere. This was a while ago when it happened. I was trying to find the paperwork and I couldn't. But they were both disgusted. Both of them that replied back to me. They were saying, "No, this is ISIS. These are bad people. You don't want these people in Canada. You got to get rid of these people." So, what's our media doing? Oh, it's anti-NATO. No, it's not. You never saw anything like that at the Freedom Convoy. In fact, if somebody even tried to do that, they would have been tackled. Even at the ones I was at, which wasn't in Ottawa, but other places around Canada, we would have tackled them. We would have held them until the police came and removed them. This is good to our media, but freedom is bad to our media. Why? Because it was the Liberal Party that was taking our freedoms, and they have to protect their sponsors. You heard the Asian lady at the beginning that I showed you. She explained it in perfect detail. The majority of Canadians, especially Liberals, are brainwashed. This is why I need you to like, share, and subscribe. And not just me. Other small media outlets and journals that are doing the same thing. Just the truth. Sorry. Just the truth. Needs to get out. More people need to see it. They have to understand, hey man, it is peace and love and freedom. That's all we really want. And in order to do it, we got to get rid of the left fascism, the hate. Fear, hate, and division has to go, has to be removed. And this happens on our streets every single day. I've been at this intersection a few times. They have it blocked right off. Previous episodes I've shown where ambulances had to take detours because the streets were blocked completely. The Freedom Convoy actually never blocked an entire street. They always left a fire ambulance lane open. The police, the RCMP, are the ones that blocked it, trying to force the Freedom Convoy into having to now move because now the highway or roadway is blocked when it wasn't them that blocked it. So they didn't move. No, you're the ones who are blocking the damn road, which they were in full right. But guess what? Propaganda. Propaganda. Twist the truth. Fear, hate, and division. Take a close look. They're going to show you the sign. See it? Yeah. This is acceptable. You don't see this on mainstream. If you did, you would see there's a minimum of 3 to 5 of these every single day. On weekends, they're out of control. Crickets from the media. Pro-Hamas, good. Pro-ISIS, good. Anti-Jew, yes, that's what they want to see. Fear, hate, and division. But fight for your freedoms, fight for your gun rights, fight for your kids' rights, fight for your parental rights. Bad. You're a bad person. This is Canada. This is why we have to decimate the left. Now, I thought this was quite interesting.
Any reaction from the Prime Minister's office? Are they clear on what's happening?
I can tell you, Sandy, as of 15, 20 minutes ago, they were still parsing through these documents. So these are official White House documents. And what I can tell you is that many countries are named on this, from Sri Lanka to the UK to Germany to South Korea, but not Canada and Mexico. Now, what this appears, and this is very early right now, but what it appears is that Canada and the US, Canada and Mexico may be exempt from this latest round of 10% baseline tariffs. We are waiting for confirmation from the Prime Minister's office. Mark Carney is expected to step out from a cabinet meeting, and he is going to address reporters with a statement, but he will not take questions. That will happen tomorrow after he meets with the premiers virtually. Now, take a listen to Premier Doug Ford. He says it is good news that Canada is not on this list, not on the boards that you mentioned, not on in these documents, but it's not a given that we're free and clear for now. Take a listen.
And this is where you see the wounded dog syndrome. And by the way, after, right where they cut this clip, good old mainstream, is where he was saying, we must keep the tone down. We must not escalate things. This is good. In other words, he literally got his pee-pee whacked, people. And I've said this on previous episodes, and I knew it was going to happen. I was even warning him weeks in advance. I'm like, what are you doing? Shut your mouth. Like, what are you doing? He's caused major damage to Ontario, by the way. Major damage. Like, They're already rerouting grid sectors and aligning different. They're going to start cutting off using Canadian electricity because, well, Ontario, because of what he was threatening to do. It was disgusting. Dougie, you're not your brother, that's for sure.
The positive thing that I saw was we weren't on that list. We weren't on page 1, we weren't on page 2, we weren't on page 3, and ourselves and Mexico. So we're going to stay tuned. Let's hope that there's some positive news coming.
Yeah, so Judy, the Prime Minister was definitely then not briefed on today's plans.
That's right. We were told to anticipate the fact that Donald Trump likes the element of surprise. He likes confusion. He uses it as a negotiating tactic. And this appears to be once again the case. This is causing some uncertainty. It's causing confusion. So we will get a better sense of exactly what Canada will face and what Canada will do in response to this from Mark Carney at around 5:45.
Blacklock's has released a report, a journal on that. They found out that the Liberal Party has been working behind closed doors and they are hiding and don't want to tell Canada what they plan on doing. And now I know exactly why, and of course most of you would know why, because this was where they were getting their votes from. And they just had the rug pulled off from underneath them from Trump. Suddenly, Orange Man ain't so bad. Tariffs aren't so bad. Everybody around the world is getting tariffs. And guess what? We are protected by the agreement in which Trump has made the last term. But they need it to grow. They need fear, hate, and division in order to keep their voter base up. So do not be surprised if Canada starts tariffing, which I heard they already are. They're going to do the same thing and start tariffing vehicles. You know who pays that, right? You and I do. They will inflict as much pain on Canada as need be to keep their polls high. They don't care about you. They never did. Every time they get up and they say a bleeding heart, I've shown it in previous episodes, that is professional propaganda. These people are trained. They know how to say one thing and then go behind closed doors, make up legislation, and pass it in another. These people are literally psychopaths. They only care about themselves. They don't care about Canada. And don't let the media keep trying to convince you. Well, obviously, if you're watching my show and you're a subscriber, hint, hint, you know already that media, mainstream, they're full of crap. Now, this is quite sad, but I thought I'd show it because this is the fact. This is Canada.
You know, when I was buying fruit in Washington State last year, talking to the vineyards and the wineries, I said, what's it like going between other states? And they go, Ron, we just got to pay $100 registration. And then all they do is they charge the tax when the wine is sold. Wow. You know, in France, if you're shipping it from the north to the south, there's no tax. In Italy, from the tip up to the north up in Milano, there's no tax. In Australia, across the country, no tax. New Zealand. Only in Canada do we have this interprovincial tariff. So I get treated like a foreigner in my own country.
So this guy in BC was forced to sell his winery to the U.S. Closed shop and gone. Hard enough to stay alive when you've got major taxes that are, you can barely make an income off it. But then you start this tariff and all the rest of this. You can't trade between provinces. The 1867 Act states right in it, Constitution Act states right in it, there shall be no tariffs or barriers between provinces. The reason they did that is because they wanted equal opportunity. Didn't matter where you were in Canada. You could be in Iqaluit, you could be in Vancouver, you could be in Saskatoon, you could be in Hamilton, you could be in St. John's. It didn't matter. You could be on PEI. Didn't matter. They wanted equal opportunity. Everybody in Canada should have the equal opportunity for their hard work to pay off and for them to grow, thus creating competition. Competition gives low prices. Everybody wins. Laurentian elite. had been slowly stopping this from happening. And then it followed that other provinces needed to be protectionist. And then they started doing it. And next thing you know, every single damn province has got their own little tax tariff, protect this, blah, 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 blah. And it's to the point where you can't even buy a pack of cigarettes and cross the damn border with an extra pair in your pocket without the cops having the ability to charge you. That is how bad it is in Canada. It's disgusting. This is where we're at. This is Canada. And what everybody's talking about, oh, no, you know what? We're going to get rid of this. And, well, listen to all these premiers. Oh, no, we're going to get rid of it. And Carney and the Liberals, oh, we're getting rid of it. They can start with federally. How about just, go back to our actual 1867 Constitution and say, hey, guess what? Any law that is against this, we're tossing. And it's done if they were serious. But they can't do that. Because the Laurentian elite are the reason that these liberals exist. Yeah. Like I said, we have to decimate them. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. If you are subscribed, please punch that notification bell so you don't miss any future episodes. Until next time, you've been watching the Canadian Citizen Journal. I have been your host, Alias Tagay. Stay informed.